What's up, fellas? Today I'm going to be starting my first vinyl collection video. I'm gonna do 20 at a time each video. Like I said in my last video, I'm gonna try to upload every 3 days. The first video being a topic or review or something, and then the second video being focusing on my vinyl, CD, and cassette collection. I'll do CDs whenever I get this fucking new CD shelf built. Sorry, I'm a little slow today. I drank a little bit before this, but yeah, let's get into it. We're gonna start with the A's. We're gonna be going in alphabetical order here for the most part. For as well as I know the alphabet. First off, we got Aborted with Global Flatline. Like I talked about in my Battle Jacket video, this is my favorite Aborted album. But also what I was talking about in that video was that I'm not that big on death metal at the moment. I mean, I'll still listen to shit like the new Tomb Mold, for example. That is probably my favorite death metal album of the year so far. I'll listen to that. I got that on vinyl that'll pop up in these videos eventually. And like an example like Pissgrave, like really raw and like disgusting shit is what I'm into death metal wise. And dissonant shit, like the new Portal, Ion, that'll be on my, for sure be on my end of the year list. But yeah, Aborted. I got into these guys when I first started listening to extreme metal, so this is probably like 2012 to 2013. I believe this album was made in 2011. And yeah, this album's just always stuck with me. It's definitely one of my favorite death metal albums of all time. Put that back where it belongs. And then we got another Aborted with Necrotic Manifesto. Now, as you can see, this is still sealed. I haven't opened it yet since, I haven't been on a death metal mood recently. But this is one of their newer albums, came out in 2014. Excuse me. Yeah, just more good, straight up death metal shit. Brutal death metal shit. I don't like this album half as much as I did Aborted Flatline, but it's still good nonetheless. There goes my carcass flag. Next up, we got Abysmal Dawn, some technical death metal. I'm not too big on Abysmal Dawn anymore. I still like this album. I think the album art is really cool. But outside of that, I'm pretty much just a casual Abysmal Dawn fan. I just got this because, it was cheap at the time. I was like, well, I like the single, so, why not give it a chance? Ugh. Hold up. Okay, never mind. Next up, we got... I mentioned them before. I mentioned them in every video so far, even though I only have like 3. Well, not the intro one, but we got my favorite band of all time, Acid Bath. This is their critically acclaimed, their most popular album, When the Kite String Pops. It comes on this really cool white vinyl. But yeah, this is the most popular Acid Bath album. They only made two full lengths. They had a demo that if I was rich, I'd try to get my hands on. But yeah, When the Kite String Pops. I listen to this album still, maybe even almost daily. Every time, well, not daily, just when I have nights off like this, I might put it on. Because it's just such an eclectic, a plethora of genres and moods. I mean, you got the blue, which is really doomy and Foreboding, and Tranquilize, which is like almost like rock and roll, and Cheap Vodka, which is a borderline grindcore. I mean, there's a little bit of everything. They're an extremely experimental metal band. A lot of people classify them as sludge. I'd maybe call it experimental sludge. But yeah, fucking Acid Bath and the Kite String Pops. Doesn't get much better than that, except for their second album that I like way more, which is Paegan Terrorism Tactics. Now, the reason why I like this album so much, it's kind of a bias, like with Channel Orange, just all the memories of my youth that are permanently inscribed through this music. Like, I remember, like, senior year, listening to Grave Flower in the fall when it's all cloudy, just, shit like that. Yeah, it seems like with this album, their last album till Audie died, they were almost trying to go a little more commercial, Because, like, Venus Blue, for example, I could definitely see that on the radio if the lyrics weren't so fucking vile. I mean, that's kind of the charm of Acid Bath, Some catchy shit, but the lyrics are edgy as hell, from one Mr. Dax Riggs, who I also love his solo stuff and his other projects. But obviously Acid Bath is my favorite of his. Paegan Terrorism Tactics. And up next, we got some Acid Witch with Stoned. Now, I love me some Acid Witch. This is some Death Doom, really Halloween themed. Their most recent album, I have it on CD, I don't remember what it's called. Came out last year. But this is just, fun, heavy, distorted Death Doom. With some elements of stoner in there. But, yeah, there's some really killer shit. Probably my favorite from them. But yeah, I saw this for a decent price, and I thought, why not, And up next, we got ACDC. But it might not be the ACDC you're thinking of, because I'm talking about this. ACDC, the Power Violence band. Probably my favorite Power Violence band. This is their entire discography. And it comes on a really sick, like, etched disc. Like, you got, this right here. I mean, it makes more sense to be like this, but then you got this side, straight edge. Were ACDC even straight edge? I don't know. But yeah, some punk shit, Power Violence, will rip your face off. They have songs that'll rip your face off, but they also have some, like the ones that rip your face off are, like, really fast and chaotic. But with this one, there's also some cuts that are, like, really crushing and slow and heavy. I mean, they mix Power Violence and sludge very well. Speaking of punk subgenres, we got Anal Cunt with Morbid Florist. Anal Cunt, famed grindcore band. A lot of people listen to them ironically or unironically. I mean, they have some of the most hilarious song titles in the world. But this is Morbid Florist. I think this is their most critically acclaimed. I'm not sure. It's the only one I could find on vinyl. I mean, OG pressings of, like, Everyone Should Be Killed and shit like that. It's, like, ridiculous. This is, like, one of the only records I could find for a decent price. But yeah, Morbid Florist, some sick Anal Cunt shit. And then I also got a demo of theirs on vinyl. I mean, it's a novelty, This is for more hardcore Anal Cunt fans. I also found this for a decent price, and I thought, I don't have much Anal Cunt, so why not just buy a demo of theirs? And up next, we got... I'm really bad at pronouncing this. Agatholocies? This is some death/grindcore band. This is a really good album. I also have this on CD. This is Razor Sharp Daggers. Just some really fast-paced, breakneck, brutal fucking grindcore and death metal. And while we're still on the grindcore train, gotta shout out the next album, Agoraphobic Nosebleed. I believe this is self-titled, yeah. Comes on this fucking wicked piss yellow, green, and orange splatter. This is like the only Agoraphobic Nosebleed album I could find for a decent price at the time. But yeah, some killer shit. Like, if you want to make your ears bleed, you know, Agoraphobic Nosebleed is the way to go. Next up, we got some Anthrax. This is their first album. With, forgot his name. That... It's not Joey Belladonna. We'll get into that in a second. But yeah, this is Fistful Metal. Their first album, I mean, it's not the strongest Big Four first album. To me personally, that's Kill 'Em All from Metallica is the strongest first album out of the Big Four thrash. But yeah, but this album I like way more than Fistful of Metal is their album Worship Music. I remember listening to this all the time in high school. My favorite song being The Devil You Know. Just the guitar riff on that is fucking sexy as hell. This is my favorite 2010 decade Big Four thrash album. But yeah, love me some Anthrax. Next up, off Relapse Records, we got ACG. This is like a stoner rock, stoner metal band. You can see some titties, you know. I like getting inebriated to this shit. Yeah, there's not much I can say about it. It's just really sick and trippy stoner rock. ACG Survive Sunrise. And up next, we got ourselves some Autopsy with Servival. This is, I think, the most critically acclaimed album. I mean, it's definitely my favorite. A lot of people categorize Autopsy as like Death Doom, and I can see that. They're slower than compared to their death metal contemporaries, but the slowness also adds more heaviness to them. Autopsy are heavy as fuck. Now, taking a little tangent away from metal, we got ourselves some punk with Bad Religion. I'm such a poser, I don't remember these album names. Recipe for Hate. This isn't my favorite. We'll get to my favorite Bad Religion album in a second. But yeah, Bad Religion were a very important band to me growing up. Like, I remember first hearing their song, New Maps... No, that's the album. The first song, New Dark Ages. That was, like, one of the first punk songs I've heard. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. New Maps of Hell, that was the album it was called. I liked it. But this is, you know, classic Bad Religion. And then we got my favorite Bad Religion album, which is probably everyone else's favorite, is Suffer. I mean, what's his name? Greg? Is that the vocalist's name? I don't know. Yeah, Greg Hetson. No, Greg Graffin. God, I'm so drunk. Yeah. This is their most popular album. It's got fucking amazing tracks. Sorry, I'm zoning out a little bit. But yeah, iconic album cover, and just some really sick melodic hardcore. Then up next, we got the mighty Bathory with their self-titled, you know. Yeah, I like Bathory a little bit. About Bathory, I consider them the first black metal band ever. I mean, Venom, no, they were not black metal. They coined the term. Merciful Fate, no, they weren't black metal. They just had the theatrics of black metal. I think it's this album that really cut black metal into stone. because it's got the lo-fi production and it's got the wretched vocals. I mean, sure, Venom and Merciful Fate like coined the aesthetics of black metal, but I think sonically Bathory were the first like real black metal band. I mean, sure, there's gonna be people who disagree with me, but that's just my take on it. What do we got next? Then we got Bathory's The Return. This I like a little more than their self-titled. I mean, this is like before they went into that fucking Viking and Norse shit, which I don't really like. But yeah, just another good, straight up, raw black metal album. And then, speaking of raw black metal, to end off this video, we're talking about Behemoth and the Forests Dream Eternally. This is back when Behemoth were still, you know, black metal band. Well, they're still black metal, but this was like more traditional black metal. Like later they experimented with death metal and shit like that. But this is like OG Behemoth. I personally prefer OG Behemoth. Like, their riffs sound like they're like centuries old. They just have this archaic, vibe to them. But yeah, always jam some Behemoth. But that's all I got for you guys today. We'll talk about more albums, you know, more of these guys over here as time goes on. But yeah, thanks for subscribing, thanks for watching, and